Hi guys, this is Ronni from Multicultural Motherhood and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I am a British Muslim convert from the southwest of England and I homeschool my 4 children. So my channel is all about motherhood, homeschooling and multicultural family life. Now today I want to talk about something that has been playing on my mind for quite a long time, and I was really unsure whether to make a video on this or not, but I figured that if I make this video and open up the discussion, then hopefully that is going to help some other Muslim converts as well. So I know this may be a bit controversial, but I just feel like it's a really important discussion to have, and that is the problem with Muslims. Now, Muslims, of course, are not a problem in general. I'm Muslim myself, and Islam is not a problem either. Islam is the perfect religion, but you know, people are not perfect, and Muslims, segregation and culture are sometimes an issue. So as a revert, I've experienced things from Muslims that have been problematic to me, and I know I'm not alone in this. I know other reverts have experienced similar things too. So I wanted to make people aware about this issue. If they're not aware already, I want you to become aware of this issue so that if there's any reverts that you know, then you can make sure they're okay and help them as well. So this all started a few months ago. Like I said, I put up one of those question stickers in my Insta stories, asking people to ask me questions. And one of the questions was, why did I convert to Islam? Now, if you want to know the full story of why I converted to Islam, then please do take a look at my other video I did about this topic. I will leave a link to that video down in the description box, so please do check that out if you are interested in why I became a Muslim. So anyway, I was typing up this message, replying to this lovely follower of mine, and I was saying that, you know, it's funny because one of the things that played a part in my conversion to Islam was the wonderful, welcoming Muslim community that I found around myself at the time that I was thinking about converting to Islam. And I was thinking, oh, it's funny actually that now I don't experience very much positivity, and I don't feel very welcomed by the Muslim community. So it's funny how things change over time. At the time that I was thinking about converting, I had a lot of lovely, wonderful, friendly people around me from the Muslim community that they used to come to my house, they used to invite me to their house, they used to invite me to events, they used to make me feel so welcome. But now, some years later, I don't have really anyone around me. Things have changed a lot, and I was thinking, this is such a strange thing, and it makes me feel really lonely, to be honest, as a revert Muslim. I have not been too unlucky with my situation with my family. My family are quite supportive, although there's things they don't agree with about Islam, they're quite supportive. We see each other a lot, a couple of times a week. We do get on quite well. We just don't tend to discuss religion that much. But I know other converts to Islam, they actually lose a lot of their family and friends as well when they convert to Islam. And at first it's fine because you have that big Muslim community around you, but when those Muslims back away, because you know, they don't really want to know you after you've taken your Shahada. They're attracted to that potential Muslim convert. They all want to have a go at trying to play a part in your conversion, and they don't realise you don't just want them there for that time when you convert. You need that support afterwards as well, and this is what people don't tend to realise. So like I said, before converting, Muslims tend to gather around you, they give you lots of information, they do whatever they can to try and help you convert to Islam. But then they just disappear, and it's like they just want that Shahada trophy or something. They want those good deeds that come with helping someone to convert, and then you convert, they forget about you, and they just move on to their next potential victim or whatever, because you know, they just love to convert people to Islam basically. That is what I have found in my experience. But don't they realise that reverts are actually quite vulnerable? They've lost their friends and family sometimes, and you know, they have entered into a new religion. They're still trying to learn lots of things about the religion, how to behave, how to act, all the kind of things like praying and how to read the Quran and everything. They need a lot of support. You cannot just abandon them. They need you. They need you to support them and to, you know, welcome them. So with all of this abandonment that Muslim reverts experience soon after converting, it's really not surprising to me at all that some reverts then choose to leave Islam. I myself know quite a few who have converted to Islam, and then some months or years later they've just abandon it altogether and say, you know, I'm not Muslim anymore. It's not surprising to me at all, because they've gone from feeling really welcomed and supportive to then losing their friends and family and having no one around them to help and guide and support them. So what is a Muslim convert to do? I mean, you're lucky if you find a practicing spouse who can support you on this journey when you're trying to discover how to live as a Muslim. But what about those who do not have a spouse, who do not have that support around them? What happens to them? I mean, you're just left to travel this lonely road on your own. And you know, it can be really confusing, you know, trying to figure out what is permissible and what is impermissible. I mean, sometimes it just can make your brain hurt. I remember about a year after I converted, I was at university, and a sister put on a study circle for Muslim reverts, and she was a lovely lady in Niqabi, but she actually put me off Islam a lot, to be honest, because, you know, I'd go to her classes and she was like, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do this. And I was like, oh my God, I thought Islam was simple. I thought it was a simple religion. I thought it was easy to follow. And now I'm being told like I can't even do anything. And to be honest, it put me off Islam for like a year after that. But then, you know, I spoke to my husband and he was like, you know, we don't all practice like that. You don't have to take everything she says completely seriously. Take it with a pinch of salt, do your own research. And I feel like I found a kind of happy medium now where I'm not like too extreme, I'm not too liberal. I just feel like I'm following down the middle path, and I'm quite happy with that. And this halal haram debate, it's a lot to do with culture, and culture is one of the biggest problems I have found, because culture leads to segregation. Like in the city where I live, there is just so much segregation. The Turks hang out with the Turks, the Somalis hang out with the Somalis, the Arabs hang out with the Arabs, and then, you know, as a British revert, you are just left on your own. You don't fit into any of these groups. So what can you do? There was a time, like, as I said, soon after I converted, I used to get invited to a lot of groups, particularly with the Turkish community, because my husband is from Turkey. But now I haven't been invited to one of their gatherings for a long, long time. I just feel like they don't really want to meet up with English people. I feel like they just want to hang around with their own communities. And I think language does play a big role in this. Language is a barrier. Obviously, a lot of these women that I know, like in the Turkish community, they can speak very good English. And it's funny because whenever I see them, they say to me, how can we learn English? Tell us, how can we learn English? And I'm like, well, if you want to learn English, how about talking to some English people? That would be a really good place to start. Don't just, you know, stay within your comfort zone, within your community. If you want to learn the language of the country you live, you have to go out there and speak to people that speak that language. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. But anyway, so these people, they just stay within their own communities. They just invite each other because maybe the language barrier and things, they're just comfortable that way, whatever. But, you know, as a British revert myself, I just feel extremely alone because I don't fit into any of these groups. And before you say, why don't you make up your own group? I have actually done this quite a few times. I have set up classes for reverts, I've set up family events for reverts, and I have got a lot of backlash about that. People were saying to me, well, why are you making an exclusive event? Why is it only for reverts? Why can't all Muslims come as well? We have issues as well. Yes, I'm sure you do have issues. I am sure you do. I'm sure you have issues, like if your family are not practicing and then you're more practicing than them, I'm sure you have issues. But let me tell you, they are not the same issues as a revert has. You cannot understand what it is like for a revert going through this change in lifestyle and beliefs and losing people and losing family members. You just don't understand what it's like. So believe me, I have tried to set up support networks and things, but I just kept experiencing backlash, and then in the end I gave up, and I was busy with my own family and homeschooling and things like that. So I haven't tried to set up another one recently, but it's something that I am thinking about and I may do, because to be honest, I just need some like-minded sisters around me, I feel. So not only do we get excluded from these events and gatherings and meetups, we also feel very lonely, especially at religious times of the year, like during Ramadan, for example, and during Eid. You know, we've got no one to actually gather with and celebrate with, no family members. So these can be really, really difficult times. And to be honest, Ramadan kind of puts me into a big depression. I know it's sad to say, because Ramadan is like this special spiritual month, but to be honest, when you are alone, it can be really, really difficult. I mean, my family, they don't understand why I want to fast. They just think it's crazy to fast all day. I think a lot of non-Muslims think Muslims are crazy for fasting all day. So my family don't understand me. And you know, the other thing is, it's actually better now, but before, my husband used to work in the evening, so I used to just break the fast in the evening by myself. Now that he's actually got a different job and he works in the day and is at home in the evenings, I think it might be a bit easier. But in the past, it was really difficult because I was always alone for iftar. So not only did my family not understand me, I was also breaking the fast on my own. And because Muslims tend to be very reclusive, they kind of tend to stay in their houses, not go out too much, all the study circles and everything like that. It stops during Ramadan because people just want to focus on their own selves and their own spirituality, their own faith. They tend to stop everything, which means it can be even more lonely for reverts. And to be honest, Ramadan is a time where I rarely see another Muslim, believe it or not. So yeah, loneliness is a massive problem, and I know that others are feeling like this too. Like I said, when this discussion happened on Instagram, I was just getting bombarded with messages from other Muslim reverts telling me how lonely they feel, how they don't have any friends, how they're not invited, how they're not accepted by the Muslim community. I just could not believe it. I thought I was alone, to be honest. I thought I was alone in feeling this way. But I now know that there are loads of other reverts that feel exactly the same way. And to be honest, in one way, I was like, oh, good, I'm not alone. But then I started thinking, wow, this is really, really sad that there are so many lonely reverts out there. This is really sad. Something just has to change. One sister even messaged me and told me a story about a male revert in her city who was found dead on the streets because he had just been abandoned by everyone. You know, he'd converted, he'd been abandoned by his friends and family, and then the Muslim community had, like I said, just left him to it, as they usually do, and then he was just found dead. I mean, what is going on? This has to stop. Don't stay within your own communities. Open your arms up to others as well. There are plenty of lonely reverts out there who are just longing to be invited to an event. They are longing to be invited and made to feel welcome again, like they were when they took their shahada. They don't want to be alone. They joined Islam to be part of this amazing community, and unfortunately we just don't see that community anymore. So please, let's just try and be more of a community. Let's integrate, let's welcome people, let's look out for each other like communities are supposed to do. I think that's about as much as I want to say on this subject. I know some of you will not agree with me about this, but please just do think about it. And if there are any reverts who you know, then just call them up, send them a message, ask them how they are, ask them if they're lonely, invite them to some of your gatherings, and just make them feel the community that they thought Islam was about. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And remember to subscribe to my channel to follow along my motherhood and homeschooling journey. I would love to know what you think about this topic, so do leave a comment down below in the comments box. Also, don't forget to check out my Instagram account at Multicultural Motherhood, because I post on there daily updates on my stories and on my grid, and I would love to see you over on there too. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!